Hi there, and thank you for clicking on my video. I'm going to keep this one kind of short, mostly because I can't talk for 2 hours and I have to go to work pretty soon. Um, the topic of preventing burnout was asked, and the only thing I could think of was like, what was that meme? Haha, Yugi, you've triggered my trap card. It's like, haha, YouTube commenter, you've triggered my liberal arts degree. Um, the fact is let's look at what is burnout. All right. What is burnout at work? A state of physical or emotional exhaustion that involves a sense of reduced accomplishment and loss of personal identity. Um, from Mayo Clinic. Not a Merriam-Webster dictionary definition or Oxford definition, but Mayo Clinic, respectable. For those of you outside the states, this is a really well-respected medical clinic. Um, so just going over what it is: a state of physical or emotional exhaustion. Pretty self-explanatory. Involves a sense of reduced accomplishment and loss of personal identity. Reduced accomplishment is pretty quantifiable. But personal identity, I don't really find that phrasing really applicable to Warframe. Because it's a game. If you are feeling in any way, shape, or form burnt out on Warframe, um, the based "oh my god" meme sound response is go play another game. Like, for your own personal health. If the thing that you are doing for enjoyment is not giving you joy, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay. Um, but dealing with this in a more philosophical way, generally burnout comes about when at work the people above you don't understand, don't care, whatever the reason may be. Not saying it's malicious, not saying it's intentional. Maybe it's they're just busy themselves. Because the way the American workplace is basically, okay, we need to up productivity, whip the worker more. What if we just reduce the worker population by 10% and just give them more work? Right? That's basically what it is. Um, so the whole drone aspect, you end up losing some social aspects because you're working so hard. So let's try to actually apply this to Warframe. Okay. If you hard grind Warframe, what would your play style look like? You log in, you farm up 4 or 5 primed fill in the blank, you're popping relics. Then you go and do incredibly boring bounties. 3 hours passed. You didn't get done anything really noticeable, but you have stuff building now. The next day, the stuff that took 24 hours to build, you have to wait. So obviously, you do more bounties. You farm more relics. You hang out with people. Maybe you'll do like a small survival. Um, and it's more relics, right? Because that's the large source of where like the harder XP is. Otherwise, you're going to be doing like the open worlds. You're going to be doing like Cetus Fortuna, the Necrolis, Trotty, right? And now the Zeraman. And you're going to be farming the same mission over and over and over again for a reward that is percentage based, designed to keep you farming pardon, until the next content comes out. So what I would say is farm up the stuff that's easy, like the arcanes from the Zeraman. Do the arcanes, and then wait on the more annoying stuff, because eventually, once the I already forgot what it is. I'm so uninterested in the next expansion. I know it's supposed to be like super hype, but the paradox. As soon as that content comes out, the rhythm in Warframe is, as soon as the latest new content comes out, the content that was immediately before, generally, this is not a hard and fast rule, because obviously there's outliers like Ash and Oberon, but generally, the content that came before, or maybe 2 releases before, becomes incredibly easy to farm. Like, think about the Kuvas weapons, right? For the newer players that weren't around when the Kuva system came out, because now it's been a couple years, the Kuva system was ass. Hell, for the first week, you couldn't even see the weapon you were stabbing for. It was pure RNG. And they immediately added that. But the Kuva system was garbage when it first came out. You literally just stabbed it on a tile set. So just keep in mind, if you're not enjoying a specific thing and it isn't rewarding, Warframe, it might be part of a larger thing, and I'm not going to try to like nuance bro this or do like Warframe's going downhill. Because the fact is this has always been Warframe. It might be your first time encountering this, so it might be like, what the hell, I haven't had run... Because you've only been doing the content that is old, and they have redesigned it to be something you can burn through. Like, for example, getting the Acolyte mods, right? The Acolyte mods used to have fucking absurd drop rates. And not only that, you had to randomly run into a node, or you would find out where the Acolyte was, and then you had to find the room the fucking thing was in. And then you had a low drop chance of getting one of the Acolyte mods, like Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, Condition Overload, that sort of shit, right? You had an absurd drop rate on those. And you would get like an alert, and you would go to where the alert told you to, and then you had to find the room on the tile set for the thing to spawn in. Now, go run a couple Deimos vaults. Probably have 2-3 condition overloads. Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds. It's on rotation on a bounty reward. Some of the most powerful melee mods in the game. I think it's a tier 3 bounty. 40, 50 enemies. They will eventually, if it is not enjoyable doing something, you should not be doing it. And if you cannot find anything enjoyable in Warframe, don't play Warframe. I go play other games also. Like, it's just, listen, everybody, unless somebody that literally works for DE is listening to this, every single other person is a consumer. Okay? The dynamic is, and will always be, the game competes with other games for your time, for enjoyment. If you don't feel like the games are competing with you anymore, and they're like, no, we're going to make your game experience worse, go to a game that respects your time. Just go to a game that respects your time. Like, that is actually the smart thing to do. But Warframe has always done this. And part of the reason why I don't suffer from burnout in the similar sense as like a newer player is because I have everything. And when I do content, when I do the new stuff, I get to do it where literally the barrier to completing something is just figuring out what the mod setup is. But it's no longer an issue of, oh, I don't have the right weapon. Oh, I don't have the mod for that. Oh, I don't have the arcane to take advantage of this. Oh, I can't be too tanky, like I don't have the mod setup. Oh, my mods aren't upgraded. No, everything's done. And if I come across something where it's like, man, that's like a really niche mod, I haven't upgraded that. I have the credits in Endo to just do it right then. So if you're coming through the game, because burnout happens on the way up, but once you're at the top, you're just bored. There's no burnout. It's you're bored and it's not stimulating anymore. But burnout is you've been put on a treadmill, you're trying to rush to the end. There recently, like, you could be doing one thing, a couple of things like that are really useful, but here's the thing. It's a game, it's enjoyable, and unless you literally have decided to make money off the game, you are under no obligation to force Warframe to be fun. This is a game. This is supposed to be enjoyable. It is a free-to-play game. And if you don't like how much money the game wants you to put into it, you don't like its monetization, and let's be honest, like, you can say what you want about Warframe for a lot of things, but their monetization is pretty good considering the other companies that are in the field. Like, we can go talk about, like, Diablo Immortal and, like, Lost Ark, where if I actually played Lost Ark as much as I did Warframe, I would have spent as much as I put into Warframe over 9 years in probably 6 months. And I just got to the point where it was like, I don't like this treadmill, so I left. Like, I don't want to feel like I have to buy doing the content on the first day if I'm ready. Everybody should be able to step through that portal at the same time. And then you get the acceleration. Sorry, I'm trying to clear my throat. So in terms of burnout, if you're feeling burnout, like the game's too much work, listen, this is not supposed to be work. Okay, it's a power fantasy looter shooter. It's supposed to be fun collecting shit, trying new stuff out. But here's the paradox, though, right? Here's the catch-22. In order for you to collect stuff, you have to spend money. Because it's not the cost of getting it that costs you money. Everything's free. It's the cost of keeping it. It's the weapon slots. I thought about doing something, and maybe about this, and maybe I'll talk a bit about it. Not saying I had anything to do it with it, but like a couple weeks ago, I talked about like maybe I'll do like a set of like where to get the mods that you need, where it's like the vigilante and like the hunter set from like Cetus, the Deimos sets, how to get those, because those set bonuses can be really nasty. Like a couple of those hunter mods, like 2 or 3 of them, are core. The vigilante set, you need vigilante supplies. But I see people have made that content, and I'm glad to see it out. But the fact is that the game is supposed to be fun, okay? And I kind of wanted to do a recap on what I've actually spent money on. Because I guarantee you it's not what a newer player thinks you spend money on. Like, okay, hold on. It's basically, I have to go one place to find it. Okay, so I need to go to inventory. Because the fact is is the thing that I've spent the most amount of money on is slots. Is slots. Like, look at these. These are all slots. And I've got 3 extra. So what is this? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's bad. 1, 2, 3, 7, 11, 14. Hold on. Let's say 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 54, 56. So we have, let's say 55 to round out the odd set at the top and the bottom. Times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 385 weapon slots. Now, yeah, they give you a couple. But almost all of these are bought. Right? And then you have companions. These are all slots also. These are bought. Rivens, I maxed 181 out of 180. You get 15, and you get 30 when you hit MR30. Out of everything, the Riven slots are absurd. So I'm at 180, minus 30 for MR30, and minus the 15. Okay, so 135. You buy them, divide by 3, times 60. That's 2,700 plat in Riven slots. I've never bought a mod. Unless it was literally, oh geez, I need like a random rank. And I have a maxed rank and like maybe one that's like rank 7, and I need have like an unranked or something, or it's like a mod that I give out like adaptation, and it's like crap, I really need a rank 2 here. Maybe I'll buy that, but I'm not buying a mod the first time. Not saying I wouldn't, I'm just saying I haven't yet. Or I'll trade for it if somebody's like, listen, I need this, like the more and more ESO runs I do, I might end up finally breaking down and buying Peculiar Bloom. But I'm at this point, it's an act of stubbornness. I'm gonna farm it. But I'll probably buy the Railjack mod, the turret velocity or whatever it is, and it's 100p. But like these are all slots, and then you have like these are skins. Like this is all purchase stuff. This is all stuff that's purchased. It's all skins. This is the stuff that you spend your plat on. The imprints. I don't know what the hell's going on with this. Oh, this. These are purchased. Amp slots are purchased. Those aren't. Oh, Warframe slots? This isn't too bad. It's basically just one of each, and then there's like a couple that I have multiple of. Those are the things that you spend money on, and cosmetics. Don't buy mods. Go farm them. It's literally the point of the game, is to farm and acquire stuff. You can start the game, and in the time period of how long it takes for Warframe to release content, you can have all of the mods you need in their release cycle. Like, when was Zeraman released? How many months ago was it now? If you started the game, you could at least be the Zeraman now with a decent setup. Like, you're not missing anything. So, and since they redid how people get uh like hold on, I'm drawing a blank. Since they buffed how much lower level people, lower level MR, how much standing you can get with anything with factions. It used to be you got 1,000 standing per mastery rank, right? It was abysmal. So for me, I'm LR2. I can get 32,000 standing a day across all syndicates, right? There are syndicates, factions, anything. I can do 32,000, except for like the syndicates, right? Where I would have to pick like, would it be 45, 46? I could do 46,000 effective, but it would be balanced out by missing like half of it, right? So it's a net positive, but I would lose half of it back. So the fact is that I can gain standing way faster than a newer player. But they buffed a rank, mastery rank 1, like an actual new bro. You start out at like what, 15k now? Like, you gain standing at a lower level just so much faster now. Where before it used to be 1,000 per. So they've buffed getting through stuff so much faster. So they want you to rush to the end. They've cleaned up the game, but don't worry about like buying it. Like buying like Toxin 6060 mods. For the love of God, don't buy those. Just go to the void and kill Vor. Okay? Like, that's the easiest 6060 to farm. Okay? Just go kill Vor like 10 times, you'll have all of them. Because it's like, what, 25% chance each? But, yeah, Burnout. Don't sit in index for forever unless you find that you would get enjoyment from it. Don't do Profit Taker for forever unless you get enjoyment out of it. Don't do Eidolons for forever unless you get enjoyment out of it. Like, even for me on the Arcanes, for like my Energize, my Guardian Grace, Aegis, and Barrier, I know I bought one of those, but Guardian Grace and Energize, I farmed up in events. I didn't do Eidolons for those. I did them with like was it Orphix Venom was what I farmed those up on. Right? Like, you're sitting there being limbo in space, playing the guitar and shit like that. Like, that was me. Like, you just go chill. So, or Scarlet Spear. Orphix Venom was the thing with the mechs. And even then, I farmed the shit out of that with the mechs too. Great way to earn mastery. You were doing a mastery. You were doing a level in the mech per run. Free mastery, right? But yeah, Scarlet Spear was super fun. It's a shame they don't do it anymore. But yeah, stuff like that. Just don't do it if it's not fun. It's a game. This is enjoyment. This isn't work. Just There's plenty of games on Steam. Maybe a couple of you are on Epic or on console or something like that. Um, yeah, it's supposed to be fun. If it's not fun and it's feeling like work and you're not getting enjoyment, that is not what this game is supposed to be. And I will be the first person to admit, listen, Warframe is not the same as it used to be. For better or for worse, it's not the same. So when you hear about the older people, like time-wise in Warframe, talking about the good old days, yes, there is a little bit of like rose-tinted glasses. Because there was definitely there was a lot of stuff about Warframe that fucking sucked. But the fact was, is the game was more about community a little bit. And the difference is there was actually stuff for people to do together. Like when you had the solar rails, there was a purpose for the clans. Like this. Like, have you guys ever... Right? Like, this console got put here. It used to be over here. They adjusted this. And this is a lens. Okay? There's a solar rail on the other side of this. Hold on. I think I can pull it up. Solar rail... Okay, hold on. I need to find a good one. No, I need an image. Okay, here we go. From the wiki. Look at the console. Right? There used to be a console right here. And this is what you would be looking at. This was the point of alliances. Like, this is what you were supposed to do as a group. Was fight over dark sectors. And there would be a console right here. And you would deploy specters and shit like that. This was the point of the groups. Oh, there's some rocks leaking through. Like, and you would fight over shit. If you ever want to see, like, what alliances used to be for, like, go look up solar rail stuff. It was literally what they were for. The dark sectors. Yeah, update 13. No, give me the YouTube video, please. Yeah, April 8th, 2014, Warframe tutorial Dark Sectors. This.
Alliances an opportunity to control a region of space within the Warframe solar chart. Collecting tributes on a number of new dark sectors.
And you would actually control
they are
nodes.
Marked with an icon representing these claimable territories. Before anyone can access them, a solar rail must have been deployed by either your clan or someone else's. To begin constructing a solar rail, you will need to have constructed an oracle, as well as the new Orokin lab in your dojo. Once the rooms are built, proceed inside the Orokin lab and up the stairs ahead of you. A research panel or other terminal will be located in the center of the room, at which you can construct
an Alliance construction terminal.
An Alliance solar rail. These function
and the Alliance would group together and go after something. This was the purpose of alliances. This is what you did together. And there was an entire meta surrounding it. So the fact is they've never replaced this system. So the social thing that you used to be able to fight over isn't in the game anymore. Like, there was some of it with, like, raids and stuff like that, where it was, like, a bigger group and coordination, and, like, there was something to work toward. That aspect is gone. In terms of social, non-monetized interactions in Warframe, they hate it, as far as I can tell. The outcome of their decisions over the past couple of years for social interactions between players has been to anything that even looks like it could be people hanging out and having a good time is to kind of shit on it. If you're doing something specific, you guys have the game support to do something, but like doing long survival runs, unless you specifically just want to go do a survival run, you can go do a survival run. But like with Tower Keys, there was a purpose, a reason to go sit in a damn survival for 3 hours. Now it's the same rewards over and over and over again. Where you could do like a 30-minute survival rotation C. There's no difference now between, unless you're doing like a relic, where once you get past like, I think it's like what, round 16 or something to get the max bonus from like affinity credits, resource drop, and whatever the other one is. Unless you actually go and stay that long, then there's a benefit to it. But staying for like 3-4 hours, which used to be like something like where before it was like you had to go to like a Discord or something, or now you have to go to like a Discord to find groups to do like a regular hour. Before it was like you could find pretty regularly people doing Tower Keys for 2-3 hours. That's just not the way Warframe is geared now. They want people doing 10-minute missions. And I think that was the actual, it was 10 to 15, it was one of those two, where they specifically said that during a dev stream, is that they're aiming Warframe toward a shorter time frame. You know what, I'm not super positive on this, but I can say with absolute positivity that they're designing the missions to be less than 30 minutes. And even with that absolutely absurd time frame, that is still less than what it was. So Burnout, let me tell you, people have gotten to the point in this game where the thing that makes them quit is literally not having universal vacuum, because it fucks them over in long runs. Like, you are literally at the point in the game where your pet dying is the thing that prevents you from going forward. Because there's no universal vacuum. Obviously, mag players aren't complaining about that, right? But, so it's just, in terms of Burnout, just, if you're not feeling it, there's nothing wrong with coming back in like a month. Okay? Or not, and there's also nothing wrong with coming back never. Okay? I enjoy Warframe because of its slower pace. It's not stressful. They've completely made this game, and I'm not complaining about it, but they've made this game to be like as easy as possible now. There is nothing hard in this game. It's like, oh, I have to figure something out, and then it's easy again. It's not like, oh, I figure it out, but it's still really hard. It's, oh, I have to figure it out, and then it becomes easy again. Like, that's how Warframe works. There's nothing redeeming about it once you get over the hump the first time. So, it is what it is. I'm not trying to, like, doomer vibe Warframe. But the fact is like, anything where it would actually, like, allow people to be social, I've asked for years, and I've even brought it up, like, in the forums. Or not in the forums. But to, like, the couple of DE people that I talk to very rarely, where it's like, are they doing anything for like social interaction, like for alliances? I would love an alliance hub where you have like clan dojos, but like an actual alliance relay for your own alliance, where you can expand it, you can do whatever the hell you want with it, you can have dojo rooms attached to it. Like, why can't you have your own city? And they could charge me for this. As an alliance leader, I would pay $20 a month to have an alliance hub where there's like a grand forge where you can queue builds, and you can just drop in like 100 forma and just have it cooking constantly as long as you have the resources to put into it. I would pay for this. I would pay for that. Where you can have like a big the idea I always liked the most was like the entrance room would be like you remember the was it oh hold on, the Star Wars Senate. Like something like this, right? Except it's a big room with like multiple levels on it, like against the wall, but it's a big room. And each of, instead of having like these discs, right? But it's a portal you can walk through into your own dojo. Each of the clans gets a portal and they can decorate like the area right in front of it. But there's a big alliance hall. And then you have like a huge dock for your rail jacks and stuff like this. But then you have something like a grand forge where it allows you to queue builds and stuff like that. Because like, listen, we've been playing this game for how many years? Come on. And we can still only build one thing at a time. Like if you want to build a forma, you can only build one forma at a time. I understand the time gating argument. And I'm not saying build 5 forma like concurrently. I'm saying I should be able to build 5 forma consecutively. Where if I want 10 forma building, it just automatically goes to the next one. There's no reason why I can't have that. That is silly. So I get the time gating, but like, oh, so why can't you set up like a build tree for a frame? You build all of the parts at the same time. In 12 hours, you set up the recipe, and in 12 hours, say you're at work, at school, so you don't have to go around with a companion app on your phone. Why can't you just automatically take the completed resource or the completed schematics and immediately start building the frame? The time gate is still there. It's still there. Why? I want that in the game. So that sort of stuff. I would want more places where like an actual alliance hub or even a clan hub would actually be useful. Because if everybody, the most annoying thing from like a clan leader perspective and to some aspect like an alliance leader is it massively breaks up the flow of mission running. Not being able to stay in the fucking dojo to do shit. If it finally happens, it happens all the time where it like organically happens. People will start running missions and they'll start using navigation in the dojo. Why can't you tether your group to like a specific navigation and you have like a foundry there, a mod station? Obviously the mod station is cosmetic. You can upgrade mods in the dojo anyway. But I'm saying, like, why can't you have a foundry in the dojo? Why do you have to go back to your ship? It breaks up the rhythm so badly. And there's all sorts of shit like that in Warframe. Where it's like, oh, you're trying to do X, Y, Z. Oh, no. Well, I have to go back to my ship now. Why can't you just do it in the dojo? Why can't you do it in, like, an alliance hub or something like that? Like, I'm not really dead set, even though I'm kind of partial because I have an alliance. I really want just any space at all that's not my fucking orbiter. Where I can build shit. Where everybody as a group, four people can run missions together. I will take any space at all. So in terms of like burnout and stuff like that, that's where my burnout comes in. Because it's constantly like you're tripping over something. But dealing with burnout, listen, the game's supposed to be fun. Okay? The game is supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, you shouldn't be playing it. Now, if it's an issue of like, you feel like you're tripping over not having mods, Well, you need to go get mods then. Okay. The idea of like burnout, not to demean it, but the idea of burning out on a game is kind of silly when you say it out loud. Burning out on work, that's different. That's your source of income. It's there's a value added to it, but nobody's forcing you to play Warframe. Like the idea of burning out on Warframe is silly to me. I've taken breaks. Every single experienced player I know, okay, has taken a break from Warframe because they fucking hate it. There's something about Warframe where it's not annoying enough to make you put it down permanently, but occasionally you're like get so frustrated with it where you're just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I just need to back away. That's the line Warframe is at. I took a break from Warframe for years. Okay? For years. There is nobody who's played this game for a long time is going to tell you, oh, you have to fix yourself. No, they're going to tell you to take a break from Warframe because everybody's done it. Okay? So just even if you just like want to try to, it's like, okay, maybe you don't understand what's going on. And even worse, say you can't even verbalize what the problem is. And this is part of the reason why I do the longer format talks, is I'll try to rephrase something because it's the dangerous question isn't the one that doesn't go unanswered. It's the problem somebody has where they don't even understand the issue enough to figure out how to ask a question on it. They can't even verbalize the problem. So even if you were like, okay, I'm going to come back to Warframe, I still love Warframe content, or maybe you like the meme channels, listen, I watch them too occasionally, but say you can't play the game anymore, play another game, maybe casually listen to some like educational videos or like whatever, and come back to it in a couple months. You know, there's no reason, there's nobody forcing you to play this game, right? Not saying like, oh, you have to put up with whatever they do. No, absolutely not. It goes the other way. Are they behaving, is Warframe behaving and enjoyable enough to get graced with your spare time? Is how it needs to be. So the idea of, oh, like my favorite argument that I see on the forum, because technically it's the correct argument, is like, oh, well, this isn't enjoyable to me. And it gets completely ignored. It gets completely ignored in the forums. I don't see how things like, and this is part of the thing where it's like, this is what burns me out, right? Is when the entire community basically said, your rally isn't fun. And DE went, well, that's just like your opinion, man. I don't understand how that wasn't viewed as like, holy shit, we put out a goose egg of a frame. Listen, some people have made it work. Do not get me wrong. Some people have made that work. Moose did a level cap with Ureli. Okay. Actual level cap. Fucking carried. Disruption level cap. Killing shit with fucking Ureli. But for Warframe, if the community goes, this isn't fun, for some reason, if you had no idea how like a team works, like management wise, if you were to go basically on what their PR thing is, you could very easily be forgiven, if not outright agreed with, that they don't fucking care. Okay? It's like, oh, we put out this frame. No, we're right. We won an argument in the office, so we know we're right. You have to deal with it when we're the customer. Right? So that's the frustrating stuff with me. That's the stuff that makes me not want to spend money. Like, my argument is never going to be taken seriously, where it's like, oh, I like the frames, I like the game, I like spending money on the game. For me, when I think about the Prime packs that I put money in, because it's for me, I think back to like World of Warcraft subscriptions, and I think about like how much those cost per month, and then I see like how much a Prime pack costs and how often they come out. I go, okay, in my mind, it's basically a subscription, but it's a 6 month subscription at a time, right? At no point in time am I buying Plat though. I'm buying the Prime packs. So like every time I buy a Prime pack, it saves me time, but two, it's like a subscription with bonuses, is how I view it. So for me, like it's part of the reason why I have such a massive what is that, 6, 7 months? Almost 8 months worth of affinity booster. That's where this is from. Resource booster 2 month and a half. Like I wasn't supposed to notice that they cut the resource booster down. But the affinity booster and the resource booster are practically permanent on my account because all you have to do is buy the Prime packs. But yeah, in terms of Burnout, bro, the game is competing for your time. Any other interpretation or language somebody uses when you tell them this game isn't enjoyable, if they in any way, shape, or form tell you that it's like, oh, it's a you problem, there are things where maybe you didn't understand the rules of the road. Like, Warframe has always had an issue with the new player experience. Let me tell you, as somebody played when Warframes had fucking skill trees and cost plat to upgrade. And, well, I forget what the meme was. Wasn't it like people thought like Warframes were like cats or some shit like that? Or fish. They were like evolved fish. I remember that shit. But like when you actually, and think about this, when you died when Warframe started out, you would get a couple free revives. And then you had to start spending money to revive. Okay? Warframes used to have skill trees. And in order to unlock the skill tree of your frame, the Orokin Catalyst had to be purchased for plat, or you straight up didn't have access to shit on your frame. Warframe has always had issues with monetization. Always. Always. So, like, if it doesn't seem worth it, Warframe has always fucked around with this. It's just the rules of it. Eventually, they get it right. Sometimes. Oh, this guy's done. So the fact is they've always had an issue with this. Pardon. So if you're feeling burnout from somebody who's got thousands of hours in the game, let me just tell you, just take a break, dude. Just take a break. This is about as much of a hot take rant as I really care to put out on it, but this is a massive problem that Warframe has. And they're never going to work on it. They're never going to work on it. Because the way Warframe puts out content, and this will be my final thought on it, is Warframe puts a god awful amount of time into something that you only use for 5 fucking missions. Like, think about it. If you, like the Zeraman, gorgeous landscape. Gorgeous. They redid both open worlds, Cetus and Fortuna, for 2 Narmer missions. For 2 Narmer missions. Think about the workload that required for something that just didn't have to be done, and then they didn't fucking use it. 2 Narmer missions. Okay? They could have left the entire fucking thing the same. But they didn't. This is the rhythm that Warframe has. They put a massive amount of effort into something that you just blow through, or you farm 5 or 6 things from it. And once you have them, you're fucking done. So this is the rhythm of the content. The only thing I could say, like, maybe you would have to do as like an introspective thing is just come to terms with that and see if it's your rhythm. If you don't like that, then yeah, maybe Warframe isn't for you. Everybody that plays it has just learned to tolerate it. Nobody fucking likes it though. Nobody likes it. If they actually use the open worlds for like a ton of shit, people would love them for it. But no, this is what Warframe does all the fucking time. Like, think about it. Like, Scarlet Spear. Custom game modes. New technology. The ability for groups on the ground to interact with groups in space. Like, you had to have people receiving the signals. You had to have people transmitting them. They never fucking did anything with it again. They turned Orphix Venom into a Railjack node. They turned it into a Railjack node, and then everybody forgot about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it is what it is. Like, this is Warframe. So, it's... You don't have to forgive yourself. You don't have to come to terms with anything, but just at least evaluate what Warframe is. If you're feeling burned out because what you were told about Warframe isn't true, then I can feel some sympathy for you because maybe you were led on. But Burnout and Warframe is never something you should get to. If it gets to the point where it sucks, just leave. It's not your problem. Because there's a chance that, like, a bunch of people also dipped. Because I know a bunch of older players, and I forget who it was, but somebody even brought it up in the comment section that there have been experienced players with way more time in the game than me that have left because there's no universal vacuum in the game. Now, they did a workaround for it. But at this stage of the game, why do you have to equip vacuum? They're 100% right. So, Burnout, I've talked as much about it. I've come at it from a couple different angles. Even voiced some of my frustrations with the game. Just accept the game for what it is, and if you don't like it, find another game. Find a place you'll be happy. It's not like saying, like, oh, this isn't for you. You don't meet our standards. I'm just saying, like, Warframe has problems. If it's a problem and you don't enjoy it, go seek happiness somewhere else. Save yourself. But anyway, have a blessed day, guys. I gotta go to work. Hope you enjoy. It was a decent rant, if I do say so. Have a blessed day, guys.